everybody, it's your best friend Sarah. I was doing stand-up this weekend, and this comedian friend of mine, Eric Griffin, who's very funny, we were hanging out backstage and watching the comic that was on, and I had my notebook out, and I always have like a legal pad, with all my jokes and stuff I'm working on, and he goes, God, you look so cool up there with your notepad. Like, you look so smart. Yeah, I go, I'm not cool. I'm a stoner that doesn't remember any of my material. And I'm a very slow honer. So I'm constantly just working and tweaking, unlike my podcast, which is loosey-goosey, messy, and off the cuff, much more off the cuff. I'm a nitpicking, slow honer with my stand-up stuff. Anyway, so I told him this story because I have like a whole stack of legal pads at home, and they're like, I've used half of them, then I'll put it away and start a new one. And, I've had them for years, and I never completely finish any of them because once you get down to the last few pages, it's like you don't have like a good base to write on. So I'll put it back on the stack and pull an old one out that I only used, a quarter of or something. Great story. So I pulled a new one out, and I've been using it for my stand-up, and I finally got probably halfway through the legal pad, and there was a picture, we'll show it right now, that Steve Agee drew probably 10 years ago when I first started using that legal pad before I chucked it on the pile and took a new one out. And I finally got to it, and it's titled Monkey with Big Vagina. And I took a picture and I texted it to him. I said, I just got hit this in my legal pad. And he videoed me back laughing so hard. He's like, that's probably 10 years old. And I just love that so much. I love the long con, the bits that don't pay off until much later when you're not even there. And so I told Eric about it, and we were laughing, and I was like, oh my God, I used to, and I hadn't thought about this in many years, and this is something I would never do now, but all through my 20s, all my friends where I grew up in New Hampshire got married, so I went to a bunch of weddings in my 20s, and I was in my 20s, so I was a fucking asshole. And one thing I used to like to do is, at the wedding receptions, there was always one of those throwaway cameras in the center of the table. And I would grab it and take it to the bathroom and take a picture of my bush. That was just a little something I like to do for me. But I told Eric, and he was laughing. He's like, you should talk about it on your podcast, because maybe all these years later, someone will be like, oh my God, that happened. That was from our wedding, So that's what I'm doing right now, So if you, if you found a picture of a jet black, wiry, oddly straightish tuft of bush after developing your wedding pictures several decades ago, 20 years ago or so, that was me. Give me a shout out. Give me a shout out? What, do I actually need more from this? Look, am I proud of it? A little bit, but not nearly as much as I once was. And I do realize that it could be very problematic in today's world, and is probably considered sexual harassment. So I'm a very sincere my bad on that one. All right, let's take some calls.
You left me a message, now I'm playing it for the world. Let's hear some voicemails.
Howdy, Sarah. I just had a crazy thought. I hope you don't find it to be depressing, but I'd just like to hear your thoughts on this one. So this is the thought that came across my mind. A job is just a mundane time filler to make you feel as if you have a purpose until you get old and die. What do you think about that later?
Oh, yeah, I've been high too. This is an existential question. This is like a question of existence, of our purpose. What is the purpose of our existence? And also, do you work to live or live to work? I'm lucky. I have a job that I, really love. I do odd jobs that I'm interested in, that I like, a lot of them that I would probably do whether I was paid or not. But I understand that that's a rare situation, that for most people, jobs are just so that they can make money, so that they can afford to live. And with minimum wage not covering the basic cost of living, people have to work more hours, and then they're living less hours. There are countries that give all of their citizens just a basic wage to cover all the basics in life. Like, you get that just from being a citizen of, like, Denmark, I think. And then people work because they follow their passions, or they work jobs. People work jobs and everything. All those jobs are filled because people want, they want more money to be able to do more things, that they might want to do. So, you could move to one of those places. They exist. But the bottom line is, I get it. What is the purpose of any of this, of our lives as individuals? Because I feel like our perception of free will, or that our existence is about something, when really we're probably just cogs here to create machine and then go extinct. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it sounds negative, but I think that we're here to, like, convert oxygen to carbon dioxide or some shit. And, like, like how squirrels hide all their acorns. They think everybody wants their acorns. Then they can only find, like, 20% of them when they look. And they think they are, preserving food for themselves for the winter, but they are actually planting trees. That's their purpose. I know this sounds awful, but it's all, it's all an illusion. I mean, we could be like brains in jars, or avatars for another existence or something. Who knows? So just enjoy this feeling, this illusion that our lives have a greater purpose than being cogs for a greater purpose, having nothing to do with us as individuals. That is beyond our comprehension. Also, this is just my theory, and, I very easily could be full of shit, but, what are the chances of that? Also, it's freeing to realize, I think, like, remember when I was saying how, like, feeling like nothing matters can be at once, very depressing and wildly optimistic, because you can feel like fucking nothing matters. Why live? But then also be like, oh yeah, nothing matters. Like, don't worry about it. Focus on being happy. It's really the only reason for our existence to us. Look at me answering existential questions. I don't know. I don't have the comprehension. I'm a mere human mortal. What else?
Hi, Sarah. I'm a longtime listener, and I really enjoy your podcast, and I think it's great. My question to you, as someone who is deeply rooted in the Hollywood arena, is what are your thoughts on this new phase of Marvel films? Have you seen the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie? It's called No Way Home, and it features villains from Spider-Man films that came out in the year 2000, 20 years ago. What do you think about that?
I'm interested. I like how they're getting all the different Spider-Mans in there. I'm curious how that's gonna. I'm not a huge Marvel head, so ultimately I don't care. But I have loved a few of them, including I liked Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. I loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, masterpiece. I loved Thor Ragnarok. Did I say that right? Ragnarok. It was really funny. Really, really good. And I liked Iron Man, but I'm not a big Marvel. I'm not an action person, so I'm maybe not the person to ask. But to answer your question, I do not have an opinion on it because I don't give a shit. But I support you in all your future endeavors.
Here's some ads.
Brooklinen. If the holidays snuck up on you too, there's still time to get it right this gifting season. Brooklinen makes award-winning comfort year-round that makes the perfect gift this holiday season. Brooklinen started with bedding, but now offers all the essentials to make every corner of your home next-level comfy. 5-star sheets were just the start, and they are so good. And their collection of must-haves now includes everything from dreamy decor to cozy loungewear to their new line of slippers. Ooh, I love Brooklinen. I sleep in their sheets every night, and it's sweet, sweet magic. Give the gift of comfort this holiday season and save while you do it. Go to brooklinen.com and use promo code SarahS for $20 off with a minimum purchase of just $100. That's BROOKLINEN.com and enter promo code SarahS for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. brooklinen.com and use promo code SarahS. Ooh, Headspace. So what if a few minutes was all it took to change your relationship with stress and anxiety, transforming your life for the better? That is the power of meditation with Headspace. Our thoughts can be confusing enough. Meditation doesn't have to be. Headspace is your convenient dose of meditation, mindfulness, and sleep exercises to relieve stress and anxiety and help you get a good night's sleep all in one app, making it easy to catch your breath and make time for your mental health. And it's one of the most science-backed meditation apps in the world, proving meditation works. A study proves in just 2 weeks, Headspace can reduce your stress by 14%. I love it. 10 minutes, a guided meditation, and you come out of it absolutely for the better. Nobody comes out of a meditation feeling worse. I can promise you that. Find some Headspace at headspace.com/Silverman and get 1 month free of their entire meditation library. This is the best Headspace offer available, so go to headspace.com/Silverman today. Headspace.com/Silverman.
And we're back.
Hi, Sarah. My name is Andrea. I am an amateur comedian in Seattle. I have been doing comedy for the last 4 years, but 2 of that has been Zoom. 98% of my comedy has been in the Seattle area. And so therefore my audiences have been really liberal, very pro-women, very supportive. And with this kind of movement that's happening right now in the comedy community there's a lot of very supportive and like quote unquote safe rooms. And that's great. Tonight, I just did a show in a podunk town in a podunk bar. And there were some very aggressive male hecklers. And that makes me nervous. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on riding the line between keeping yourself safe and
living in a bubble.
There's just the school of thought of quote unquote get over it. That's how you stretch this comedy muscle. But that's not always safe. And that's why a lot of women don't end up pursuing comedy because it's not safe. So I don't want to be too sensitive, but I also... can I become a professional without going to rooms like that? Okay, bye.
Yeah, you could probably become a professional without going to rooms outside your own personal ideological bubble, but I doubt you could become a great comedian doing that particularly. I mean, listen, first off, if you feel unsafe, like physically scared as a woman, trust your gut. Don't go there or get yourself out of there. I actually carry mace on me all the time in my backpack. And if I'm walking to my car in a place that I don't feel safe, I just have it in my hand with my thumb on the safety. It's just an easy way to stun people in a dangerous situation where you can get away. And I used it a few times when I was younger. I haven't needed to use it in a long time. But it's also just for your own peace of mind, especially if you really want to be I don't want to say if you really want to be a comic, you're going to have to put yourself in dangerous situations. But as Whitney Cummings said, and I quote her all the time, and she said it more artfully and funnier, but basically when you're a female comic, it's dangerous just to walk to your car after a gig. And a lot of male comics don't take that into account because they don't need to. But a lot of your male comic friends will walk you to your car, or, for, whether that's ideal or not. It is sometimes the reality. That aside, yeah, you could probably become a professional comedian without ever having to suffer in those ways. And maybe this means I'm old, but I do feel that when you're cutting your teeth, you need those experiences. Always staying in a safe space protects you from failure, and nothing teaches you more than failure. You have to be brave, I think. So I would say it would be hard to become a great comic without ever risking anything. Also, we find comfort among those who agree with us, growth among those who don't. And guess where I learned that? An actual fortune cookie. That is true. God damn, those cookies are smart. I talked a little bit about this like on a previous week with those gigs. You have to, I think, raise your expectations of the audience because otherwise it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, And as a comedian, you should be able to connect with any crowd without selling out your ideals. That's the challenge. And it's possible. I've seen it. And in the quest to do that, you are going to bomb. This is failure, which is your best chance at growth. And shit. Before I had people specifically coming to see me, I would just be like a comic on the menu, right? Or a lot of times still, if I jump on a show. And listen, I ate bowls and bowls of shit. That means bombing. Yeah, I mean, come on. I've been heckled so much, which I do not enjoy because I like to take pauses, as I've changed as a comedian, especially. Like I like to have those quiet moments. I like the stuff that happens in those quiet moments. And a lot of people are not comfortable in those quiet moments. And when they're drunk, they really need to fill those spaces. And it fucks me up. I just stop everything and focus on them because, the truth is, what I've learned is the subtext of any heckle, even if it's I love you, or if it's fuck you, you suck, whatever it is, the subtext is always, I exist, right? Right? It's kind of heartbreaking. It can be a bummer, but it's a little bit interesting. But like you said yourself, yeah, it's a really important muscle. You have to find a way to love the audience. The audience is your partner. Your biggest mistake is to prejudge an audience because you think they're going to prejudge you. Or because they think differently than you. And people aren't looking to see people who are molding themselves to seem just like them. The one thing you have as a comedian is your self. That's what you bring to the table. Self. The one thing that's unlike anybody else that no one else can do. Be you. Like Tiffany Haddish reminded me of years ago. We were on the same show at the Comedy Store, and it was, I would guess it was Chris Spencer's show in the main room, which is it was like a all black lineup and like all black crowd or mostly black crowd. And she said that I was on the show, and she was wondering, she was thinking, what is Sarah gonna do? What is she gonna change to be, to handle this crowd or, would perform in front of this crowd? And then she said she was surprised because I didn't do anything. I just did my act the way I do it. I was myself, and it went well. Yeah, because people aren't looking for themselves. I mean, yeah, everyone has something to relate to, and they'd like to be able to relate to a comedian, but that doesn't mean that they want to see a mirror image of themselves. You have to be you, and to find out who you are, you have to be challenged, and you have to find connections with audiences that aren't just like you. So take it or leave it. There you go. Good luck. What else?
Hi, Sarah. This is Sky Bob from Oklahoma, and I'm a big fan for a long time. And I've just got out of prison for about 4 or 5 months ago. And I was in there during the whole COVID thing, and just kind of waiting for the COVID to come for months and months. And just like, when is it going to hit us? And it did, finally, officially. And everyone around me got it, and I didn't. But and then they finally got the vaccines out right before I was released, and they were trying to make us like get them, and I kind of was resisting it, and I don't really know why. But because of Thanksgiving, my grandma and my mom, and your show, your podcast, and I was wondering to myself, why do I not just get this? And so today I'm going to get the vaccine, and I would like to thank you and ask you what you think about the unpolitical Americans that are unvaccinated. So thank you very much. All right. Love you very much. Bye.
I love you too. I don't know why I love that call. Well, it's interesting because, you were surrounded ultimately by people who had COVID. You should have gotten it and you didn't. And of course, that's going to make you naturally wonder if you had, you had maybe you had the antibodies, or maybe the one thing that is actually kind of even scarier about COVID is that there aren't definitive patterns. With Adam Schlesinger, there were 4 of us hanging out with him. And then he went to see his daughters and his ex-wife, and then he was with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend took care of him all while he was sick until he was ventilated and ultimately died of COVID. And none of us got sick. None of us who were with him for the table read at the Airbnb I was at, his daughters didn't get sick. His ex-wife, but 10 people from like the grocery store may have gotten sick. There isn't a pattern, and that's what makes it scary. But, so yeah, maybe you just felt like, hey, I'm not catching this thing. I must have the antibodies, and you just didn't want to bother with the vaccine. Maybe. But I'm really glad you're getting it. Not for any fucking political reasons. Take that out of it. It's your body doesn't care about politics. But just because I love that you're getting it, just because the people around you will feel safer. And if you get it, you won't die from COVID. If you get the vaccine, even if you get COVID, you won't die from it. That's what it does. And the more people who get it, the safer we all are. The better our chance for herd immunity. The better our chance to squelch these fucking variants. And I just think that, like, as humans at our very best, we're looking out for each other. As Americans, as earthlings, as family members. It's like how Mr. Rogers says, look for the helpers. Like in times of crisis, look for the helpers. And there are always helpers. And I think you are one.
Here's some ads.
Ooh, Athletic Greens. Today's program is brought to you by Athletic Greens, the health and wellness company that makes comprehensive daily nutrition really, really simple. I take a bunch of chunky vitamins that are really hard to swallow, and I'm not enjoying it. AG1 by Athletic Greens, the category-leading superfood product, brings comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition to everybody. Keeping up with the research, knowing what to do, and taking a bunch of pills and capsules is really hard on the stomach and hard to keep up with. To help each of us be at our best, they simplify the path to better nutrition by giving you one thing with all of the best things. So this is just the greatest alternative. It's just a drink, and it has everything you need in it. As the research changes, so does AG1. While most nutritional products that come to market never evolve, Athletic Greens continues to obsessively improve AG1 based on the latest research, producing 53 improvements over the last decade and counting. They invest in the most absorbable and natural source of each ingredient and go above and beyond in third-party testing to ensure their customers continue to receive the highest quality and best daily nutritional habits on the planet. Wow, that's a promise. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto or paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and contains less than 1 gram of sugar. No GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while keeping it tasting good. Join the movement of athletes, moms, dads, rookies, first-timers, and everyone in between, taking ownership of their daily health and focusing on the nutritional products they really need in the simplest manner possible. That's Essentialist Nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you an immune-supporting free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase if you visit athleticgreens.com/Sarah today. Again, simply visit athleticgreens.com/Sarah to take control of your health and give AG1 a try. Raycon, yes. In my family, we're really not big gift givers, but sometimes when I find something that I know everyone will like, I surprise them all. I found a gift that everyone will really love and use, Raycon wireless earbuds. I use them. I actually lost one of them, and the one I have is perfect. It has the mic on it, and I really don't need the other one. But obviously, it's nice to have both, and that's my bad. Raycons give you amazing audio quality wherever you go. It's true. Whether you use them to pump up, wind down, to work or work out, make calls, whatever. They're just as good, but start at half the price of other premium audio brands. With their latest model, you get 3 new sound profiles to make sure everything you're listening to sounds its best with just the right amount of bass. Raycons are available in 5 stylish colors, so you can pick a perfect one for everyone on your list. With free shipping and returns, gifting is easier than ever. The holidays are coming up faster than you think, my friend. Now is the time to knock out that gift list and avoid the last-minute shipping scramble, especially because right now, my listeners will get 15% off site-wide with code HOLIDAY at buyraycon.com/Silverman. Go to buyraycon.com/Silverman and use code HOLIDAY today to get 15% off your entire Raycon order. Buyraycon.com/Silverman. And we're back.
Hey Sarah, my name's Ray. I'm from San Francisco. I'm Chinese American. And I just wanted to say that I loved hearing you and Rory talk about Shang-Chi, and in particular discussing this distinction between fighting and dancing, which, as someone who practiced wushu, which is Chinese martial arts, and a lot of it was showcased in the Shang-Chi film, dancing and fighting are not as mutually exclusive as we might consider them in a Western context, where our references are like ballet and boxing. When you practice wushu, I kind of like to think it's a combination between gymnastics, self-defense, and dance. Elegance, poise, composure, choreography are all very much valued within the practice of wushu. And so I felt that the way you described it as dance was very apt, and that maybe you and Rory really were on the same page in thinking of it as fighting and as dancing, as both. There's a really cool Brazilian martial arts form called capoeira that actually involves instruments playing in the background, and it's dancing, fighting, playing is all kind of melded together. So I thought you might think that is interesting. Thank you for everything. You're absolutely wonderful.
Ah, that's awesome. There's a thin line between love and hate. No, that's not. Am I making a point there? If fighting is like dancing for toxic masculinity. I'm using that term too much, but it's pretty right on. You know, there are like men who probably, I bet, need to fight to have just some place to put all their complicated feelings, or even to feel human touch. But when I talk about toxic masculinity. Like my heart breaks for men and the way boys are raised in this country, and you know, especially in my day, you know, don't have feelings, don't have emotions, don't express yourself, don't be connected to your emotional side. You know, all that stuff is so fucked up. And it's what I heard Joe Rogan was like railing against the idea of toxic masculinity. And I like it. I've known him for years as a comedian, and I do like him. And I like how he's open, you know, he's very open about things, you know. But he was like railing against toxic. He was like, you don't like toxic masculinity? Do you like bridges being built? And I just thought that's such a funny point. Like it's just, what part of actual like toxic masculinity that I have such deep empathy for, like, is what's needed to build things. You don't need to be riddled with pent up, unexpressed sadness and anger to build stuff. You don't need those things for that. I understand, like, you fighting and boxing and all those things help you get all that out. And I mean, I've dealt with rage, my own rage, over many years, and working out and getting my sweat on is definitely really helps me. But you can still work with tools if you have emotional tools. You know, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, I just found out that a doctor I went to won't let his son wear pink. Really? Colors now? I mean, like, if you're afraid of actual colors and you're going to put that shit on your son, that's crazy. It's crazy. You know? There are like men who like need to think of pink as salmon to be able to wear it. It's not pink, it's salmon. These are the mind tricks you have to tell yourself to be able to wear the color pink. It's so weird. My friend Heidi has a 6-year-old son who loves to wear pink. He just loves the color pink. It feels good on his eyeballs. And they have to go to the fucking 6-year-old girls section to find colors he likes. Why are there girls and boys sections for fucking 6-year-olds? Their bodies are the same shape. You know, with women and men, our bodies are different shapes. But like colors are gendered? Can that end? That relic end? Good grief. God, marona mi, as I like to say. Nice Italian phrase. It's my new oi. What else?
Hi, Sarah. I just want to respond to the gentleman from Texas, the black man who called and said he'd been working for Democratic causes and was going to quit and not vote. And first of all, I just want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. As another Democrat, I'm in a different part of the country in New York. The work that he did helped us to elect a Democratic president. And I agree, it is heartbreaking that we don't have police reform, and that we didn't get the Voting Rights Act reform. It is a tragedy and it is horrible. But having a Democratic president, I just want to point out some of the amazing things that we do have, such as rejoining the Paris Climate Accords that Trump left, and the World Health Organization. Those two things alone have created so much positive change for people. Also, I just want to say to your caller, because of the work he did, we got a child tax credit and the American Rescue Plan. We have cut child poverty in half. So, yes, it is frustrating and it is terrible that our Congress does nothing. But the work that he did and that has been done to improve the lives of people is real. And please vote. And please vote Democrat. And I just want to say thank you and love your show. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. I love when people much smarter than me call in and help with these answers. And fuck, I needed to hear that. Thank you for that. I cut child poverty in half. Now for the other half. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah, this is Nick from Minnesota. I first came to know you when I was flipping through my TV and stopped on a lady singing, "You're going to die soon, you're going to die soon.
That was
We're all
me.
going to die, but not as soon as you guys." And from that moment, I was hooked. My question to you is, what do you remember most about that skit? And are you going to be performing at any other old folks' homes soon? Catch you later.
That was part of my first stand-up thing, Jesus is Magic. And we shot this video like at a nurse. It wasn't at, we built like a nursing home. So it was all these very elderly actors and extras, which I love working with. They're the best. The elderly are the best, like, extras and actors and things, because they're not doing it to, like, break into show business, you know. They're just, like, finding they have time on their hands and they can spend it with people doing this. And it's, so they're, you know, extras in their 20s and 30s, you know, are, think that they're breaking into show business, and sometimes it can be a bummer, but, the very young ones or the very old ones are the best, because they're, you know, the young ones are like wide-eyed and psyched, and the older ones are just like, want to spend time with people. But it was really fun. I had a good time shooting that. And there was one woman who plays like my main, you know, grandmother in the video. And she had to actually, she was 88, and she was really interesting. She was a military person. Like, she had spent most of her life in the military, and she was 88 and started being an extra in things. And so she did this, and she had to, like, I had to help her, like, get into a casket, and then for a shot where I open the casket, scream, sing, like, there's this, like, heavy metal section of the song that's like, you say you hated my perm. I visited you. Pick up your own prescription, bag of bones. Like, it was awful. It's like, it's something, I don't know. There's a line in it where it's like, I hate the way you chew your walnuts. Like, it was just all these really specific things. And anyway, and then I slammed the casket shut on her, which made me feel very bad. I was like, oh God. But I think she enjoyed it. May she, I'm guessing, rest in peace. And Dad, on that note, Dad, we're winding down. And, you know, Susie's in town, my sister, and she was like, you know, when you say, Dad, I'm winding down, like, I'm not ready for that. So now I have to go, Susie, it's almost the time where I tell Dad that we're winding down in the podcast. And now I'll say, and Dad, we're winding down in the podcast. It's the time where I say at the end, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. It means something. It keeps us on the air if you press that subscribe or thumbs up or whatever the fuck button. And check us out on YouTube if you like watching with your eyeball holes. Eyeball holes. That's hard to say, eyeball holes. All right, bye.
Hey, I wanna.
Hey!
Bye.
Hey, ya fucker!
Subscribe here so you don't miss an episode. And you can click here to watch the last episode if you missed it.